While block-pushing puzzles aren't anything new to the video game scene, Baba Is You changes the rules of the genre by making the very concept of changing the rules the entire mechanic. On this speed pass, let's see if Baba Is You is worth racking your brain over. What started out as a game jam title, Baba Is You showed the puzzle genre that even the rules are made to be broken and rewritten. With the original game jam version released for free, it was very quickly pointed out to me as a game that I needed to show off on stream, and no other information provided. The game jam version, while obviously primitive, is rather fantastic and more than worth a playthrough, because it's where I feel the game was best designed. I knew a full version was always in the works, but I kept forgetting about it until talk sprung back up shortly before its release. In this version, we have a lot of immediately recognizable changes. Baba is no longer some sort of horned gnome, and more like a crudely drawn rabbit. The graphics all wiggle around like living motion sketches, which you can turn off if you want, and the text and design are much more round and less blocky, even though they are still pixelated and minimalist. Music also got a major overhaul. There's a lot more instrumentation than the simplistic but catchy droning machine-like tunes of the Game Jam edition, this time going for a more layered, upbeat, and occasionally ethereal and somber approach to the music, closer to what you might expect from a puzzle game. Each area also has its own track, which will play for almost every stage in that area. While the music is a lot more complex than layered, and does go on for a decent amount of time without looping, it does reach a point where hearing that music over and over as you rack your brain around a particularly tricky puzzle can make it drone on for far, far longer than it's welcome, and you'll be begging to hear something else. Depending on how long you take to clear out puzzles, a bring-your-own soundtrack might be required if you crave variety, but you'll know if you reach that point once you reach the lake's tricky puzzles and strangely downbeat, somber tunes. Baba Is You is, at its heart, a block-pushing puzzle. It's a staple of puzzle games. You push objects around the room and use them to activate things or reach certain areas until you find the exit. Nothing really encapsulates that more than the first puzzle you're shown. You have 3 rocks in the way and a basic tutorial of the game rules. Rock is push, wall is stop, Baba Is You, and flag is win. You could push the rocks out of the way by pushing the top and bottom rock to the right and the middle one up, then move around the rocks and touch the flag, and you win. It's simple enough, but kinda boring, right? I mean, maybe I want to walk into this void over here. Who says the wall needs to stop me? Who says the flag needs to be the win condition? Who says you need to control Baba? Maybe I want to be the rocks, or the wall. Maybe I want the rocks to be the win condition. Since you can rearrange the rules, you can easily find multiple solutions to a lot of these puzzles. You might notice that anyone skilled with the game might offer advice, and sit back in annoyed silence watching you do a puzzle the wrong way, until you suddenly, to their complete surprise, claim victory. The game still very much operates in the block pusher puzzle base. You can only move up, down, left, and right. You can't pull on blocks unless a certain action is applied. Words are not usually affected by rule changes or some environmental hazards. If you end up pushing something against an edge, you can't remove it unless you undo your action by pressing Z. With this in mind, you'll find yourself in situations where how you move around the objects and the words is just as important as what you're changing the rules to. As much as rewriting the rules is the base idea of this game, one solid rule remains. You must reach win. Whatever is tagged as you is directly controlled by the player, and whatever is tagged as win will complete the stage. And in case you were wondering, yes, changing anything that you control to is win is a viable victory strategy, as long as you still also control it. So if you push you out of the way to move in win, it won't work since the object is no longer you. Make sense? Because if it doesn't, you're going to have a very bad time. Every other rule on the way to reaching win is very likely up to you to make work. The game will also mess with your understanding of basic gaming rules in general, using what we would traditionally consider bad, like skulls or lava, harmful to interact with by default in one puzzle, while good or useful in another. That is, if you don't change the rules to work that way anyway. As long as you don't have a rule that's set in stone on the map by being inaccessible to your influence, everything is on the table, even though you likely won't consider the solutions immediately. Of course, you'll first have to understand how the rules work in general. You have 3 types of words, which, ignoring any official statements on the matter, I'll refer to as subjects, linking, and action words. Subject words are colored letters, like Baba, wall, key, door, flag, and the like, and usually the same color of the object that it represents. Action words are black letters in a colored block. These are things like push, win, defeat, you, and stop. They'll usually define the action of the subject that it's being linked to. Linking words are white and consist of simple conjunctions, is being the most common, and later being joined by words like and has. The main form of rule construction is placing a subject word, linking word, and action word to create a rule. While subjects can be linked to subjects with is to transform them into that object, actions can't be linked to other actions by is, but can be linked by and. So hot is open won't do anything, but key is open and hot is viable. Subjects can link to actions, but actions can't be linked to subjects. No Yoda speak here. Wall is push will work, push is wall will not. It'll take a lot of experimentation to get used to it, and getting new words will throw a wrench into your comfort zone just when you think you've gotten a handle on all of it. Any viable rules that you've created, or rules set in stone on the map, will be seen on the pause screen. Keep in mind, some actions are going to be incompatible, either by design or by logic. Obviously something can't be open and shut, or stop and push, but certain rule commands can render dangerous objects as safe. If you have something like skull is defeat as a set-in-stone rule, and manage to form and push along with it, you can shove around any skulls on the map without ever losing to them. Due to the basic mechanics of needing to be on top of an object for actions like sink, defeat, or melt to work, placing an action like stop or push that gains priority over the others and won't let you overlap the object is a sound strategy for certain puzzles. As you can imagine, with so many conditions being thrown at you at any time, you'll need to be thinking outside of every box for some of these, and trying to play this on stream or in a group setting can be an interesting listen to any outsider, wondering why you and your friends are suddenly yelling at each other in Hulk speak. Key is push, then push through grass? Can't. Grass is stop. Key is float. Okay, make grass is float, then Baba is key. No, Baba is Baba. Then maybe grass is Baba? No, grass is grass, and Baba is Baba. This cleverness and out-of-the-box thinking, while unprecedented and unique, actually becomes my biggest issue with the game and holds back on me giving it an easy recommendation. While I feel the Game Jam version, and even the first dozen or so levels of this version, have very clever, interesting, and tight puzzle design, once more words and conditions get added, things just start going out the window. Very often the solution to a puzzle requires things so far out of the box that you will have never considered them as part of the initial rule set in the first place. And it goes from, oh wow, that's really clever, to, how the hell was I supposed to figure that out? Arranging the rule set to make Baba essentially immortal so you can sail past any deadly hazard? Okay, I see what's happening there. That's pretty interesting. Having to position Baba and 3 objects in such a way that you force the word objects to glitch over another object, and then push them apart so you can position them properly? Alright, I'm not sure how I was supposed to know that, but I guess it's something to keep in mind for later. Having to force yourself to lose the stage, and then abuse the move command to have other objects carry your lifeless corpse over the hazard line, and then reform the sentence so that you can control yourself again? What? The more these weird nonsense solutions came into play, the less I feel like I was using every bit of puzzle knowledge to come up with clever solutions, and more like I was at the whims of a madman who wanted to prove just how far out there his puzzle designs could go. One tweet referred to this game as galaxy-brained horseshit, and even the creator found the critique amusingly accurate. If a physical release of this game ever gets made, that quote needs to be on the back of the game case. I can understand how the prospect of some ARG-level giga-thinking will have you diving onto this title eager to spend hours on a single puzzle trying out everything, but for those of us who enjoy puzzles and still like to keep our mind planted firmly inside our skulls, it won't take long before playing Baba Is You has the same appeal as following a recipe book, as you just keep a browser tab open to a walkthrough when you've spent more than 20 minutes staring at the same pile of squiggly sprites because we never thought pushing the empty space was a logical solution. In that, as much as it pains me, I cannot give Baba Is You a full go rating, even though I normally would for the uniqueness alone. When puzzles become completely absurd frustration fests with meticulous movement and rule building, I know the charm wears off fast if you're not fully invested. So, caution plus it is. The game knows exactly what it's trying to be, but if you are not prepared to think of outright absolutely absurd solutions, or end up reading a walkthrough most of the time, it's a lot harder to recommend. I think that most people who want to play this need to be absolutely certain that they are ready to have their brains leaking out of their nose by the end of level 4.